and I've been told to pipe down and lock in, so that I shall do. It is going to be FERRON versus Nyx here. It was meant to happen at 9 p.m., but we're a little late to the party tonight, considering the fact that our sets have gone to the absolute wire, and you love to see them so close. So at least Gospel and Renewal definitely did, even though it was 2-0. The matches were very long, and we did have a set that was a tie. So it initially went to 3 in total sets for the series. But yes, FERRON versus Nyx. Lich on Orman Lake Mine, which is what you're seeing now. You are seeing LZY for Nyx play Killer first up. Mastermind on the Cocktail 1 being our second pick, and then tiebreaker of Ghoul Suffocation Pit 1 if we do need it. And it will be streamed since this is the last series of the night. Now, regardless, it's going to be Nyx in chase with our Killer here. LZY now following up this chase after spotting him out very early, but still has yet to find the tag. We are going to be trying to play the mind games around in the inside, try to come back on the outside and emerge, potentially even just hold up the pallet here with the hand. But are we able to make the window? I think that we are. We might even just be able to make the pallet. No, we aren't. And we're going to be slapping it in his face to extend it just a little bit longer. Nolsey.
Yeah, I mean, getting shot through the pallet there was a bit just unfortunate, but we do know that we have 2 survivors doubling the main gen, so kind of got to get this down relatively quick. And LZY looking like he's getting onto it, but just missing on that version. And there we go. There's the big down. First down, very important in these kind of micro sets. It's going to set the catalyst for the rest of the game, and it is going to kind of just pace how things are going to turn out. So, unfortunately, seeing the first gen pop in there is going to set LZY a bit on the back foot, but with the build that he has, like Ruin, Eruption, Painter's, Corrupts, the like quadrilogy, I don't even know if that's the right word, but of just slowdown that we see pretty much among these SEA and NEA teams. Like even then on the Oni set, we just saw Yokai using the exact same build, granted completely different killer, but just the fact that they kind of love running these just hyper, just gen delay builds kind of sets an idea that that's how they play. This, like, they're very gen oriented. So micro-wise, we don't see any brutal like we would have seen previously, like any bam or anything like that. So we're just relying on mechanics, which honestly, it's like I respect it, bro. Like just for any SEA and NEA team.
Yeah, it's a different shake-up in their meta, definitely, but LZY here trying the skull elevation tech, not working out. Next, off the hook, still having an incredible chase for what it is worth. We're going to catch up to him with the flight and even block him through the window, so that will just spell his ultimate demise there with no escape, no body block, no pallet, no window, no nothing. But look at that gen pressure. Oh my god, and it does mean that 8 gets done there, so there's 3 gens remaining in the trial. Only 1 more that has progress at this current point. It's about 50% of the way. It cannot be negated by this Pain Resonance hook, as we have already used Pain Resonance on Hex prior in this in this trial. We didn't bring turn back the clock, and we would have been able to use it on that main gen, but hello there, we're getting a nice little cheeky snipe onto Diary just before jumping off of the roof of main. As we do pre-drop this pallet here over at 11, we are really trying to bait out the extra vault, but we've mind gamed effectively, we've mind gamed ourselves, and we've left the chase entirely, going for the tunnel out onto Nyx. Okay, I did not realize there was a pull in the background, but there definitely was, and we've rotated on the back half of main, trying to meet up for some sort of a reset. And look at that, we've lost our tunnel out. Where did they go? You need to find them soon, son, otherwise there's going to be problems for you. You hear some resets happening on the backside. We're going to be breaking the doorway to open up a little bit more of a pathway that's workable for our killer. We do spot out next. He didn't get reset in time. Where did the skulls go? Why that you didn't go for the window? He went for the top of main. Following up here, we do see the scratch marks leading towards a very strong pallet, but we do make it in time with the mage hand, and the ping allows us to make the stun. He's been shot over it. Oh, that is disgusting.
Yeah, what a sequence of it. So first of all, we catch the reset, then we try just sending our skeletons off to the, like, on a Danny Phantom. Then we see the tunnel out, oh yes, the candy, the tunnel out. I'm gonna get me some of that. That's probably what LZ was thinking at least. And then we, like, so, okay, then we get stuck on some bit of scaffolding, I think that was. Then we try to mage hand a pallet. We drop the pallet on LZY's head, then we get shot through pallet. Yeah, I'm liking that sequence of events. That is just some peak Dead by Daylight crispiness right there. And as we see another gen game pub, we reduced to 2 gens with with a heal coming out right now. What does LZY have? He's got a gun, it is loaded, and he just loves to shoot things, especially survivors. Now, are we going to see potential 2-app coming in here? Hopefully, because that will get LZY straight back into the game. There's skeleton get. Oh, there we go. Dropping down, making sure that I've noted the skin of Cheryl, because I have not played Silent Hill F, even though I'm a Silent Hill fan. I'm blasphemizing. My bad, gang. What do you think, Hunter?
Look, with the scenario we've been allocated and how close these gens are, we can at least hold the 4K one. It is definitely manageable, but the survivors still have the upper hand, or 2 being healthy at the moment, 1 being on the hook. They do need After Rain up and Adam in the game, though. Now, LZY really does need this tag onto Diary here before returning back to the hook. As we do drop down the firecracker there, it's not going to aid us in any regard. And as I say, he needs a tag. There it is. With no pallet at 11-2, our survivors disposal Diary, we're going to have to just eat it and cop that tag as we do pre-drop the pallet here. On the outside of 8, this is going to still hold the gen over at 8, so we're not able to work it in any instance here. So back up with the skulls, we're ready to prep them up for when we do need them, but I feel like we can just walk our survivor down here, as they are just opting to die in the corner of 11, nice and far away from the actives being worked over at main. Thank you, ready for the preemptive pull as soon as it does happen as soon as the hook does happen here over at 11. So they'll want to keep the pace up and going. They'll want to keep the pressure very prevalent in the scene. So I think the quick pull here is definitely obligatory to do so, as we do see the big Eye of Magnus quite give us some information on where our survivor went. We are going for the skulls again, and that would have been crazy if it did connect, but it did not. We do have access to this pallet on the out front of main on the top half, but it does not really matter too much, as we do just bait it out our sort of vault there. We are going to be going down shortly after faking the vault. It's kind of rinse repeat at this point. Even though that we get the survivors off the hook, we get them healthy, it's just a scenario where it gives enough time for LZY to close in the chase and negate all kind of gen pressure, and potentially even get a hook in a more favorable position to where he can just put pressure on the generators, or for a reset in the background. Like, no gen pressure at all. We're not really progressing the game. It is just kind of at a halt for our survivors, but our killer definitely on the front foot. Diary there just pulling in front of the face of LZY as he holds up the pallet there. Thank you, madam. That's going to be a slap onto Diary there, who is now forced to use the corner of 1, the jungle gym, which I'm not too sure has been thrown yet. It definitely has been yet, actually. Sorry, I do apologize. I remember that a little bit earlier on in the trial, and we do not make the medium vault here. Rinse repeat scenario here at the Almond Lake Mine.
Yeah, 100%. As we're seeing the pallets getting dropped, we're having less resources for the survivor, and this is where the Lich thrives on this map. In that terms of, with the pallets being gotten rid of, Lich has so many capabilities where the very few pallets that are still up, he can either just pick up or just block entirely. He can zone you with skulls, he can fly straight back on top of you after gain take. He amasses so much pressure in this late to mid game if there are 3 survivors possible, and if he's been draining resources like LZY has done here. Even though at the start, where we did see a gen pop for the first chase, that's pretty typical, we're seeing just the amount of back and forth, the tug of war that is the Lich set coming in from LZY and against FERRON. Honestly, we're with Nia getting tunneled out here, we only have 1 more painter as stack, but our Ruin is still up. Our Ruin in the 3v1 is arguably just the most impactful pack, because you have someone working a gen, you have someone on hook, you have someone going for the unhook. The person who gets pressured off of the gen, that gen's now aggressing. And the person who might have been on a gen is going for the unhook, that gen is also aggressing. So it doesn't matter what the survivors do, as long as this Ruin is still in the trial, we are going to see gen pressure gain as we see Nia once again getting shot by the LZY. What a weapon.
What a weapon indeed. And yeah, I didn't even realize that Ruin is definitely still in the trial. I didn't even really pick the build all too much, even though you disclosed a little bit earlier on in the trial. That's the exact same one that was brought in last trial by Yokai for renewal. So anyway, going back into this trial. There is the gen being going off its chops over at mid-6. We are probably going to kick that with Eruption, so we can negate it for the 4K2 at the very least. Some nice dodging work from After Rain now. Does have a little bit of extra work to do as he is trying to greed everything and try to make an appropriate death location and potentially a more favorable pallet or window, but after getting slapped there, we're able to take the tag, go straight back to 6, where we anticipate that's where Thank You would have rotated to. Okay, and a nice little Eye of Magnus is going to tell the tale of who went up into main. It can only be one person, and that is After Rain. As we do take the chase back onto Thank You here, he is going to be pre-dropping this pallet on the out front of 11, and as have access to over at 8, where there is no resource to his disposal, so he's just kind of forced to eat this tag after faking the window there, trying everything in the books at this point, but the map is just so bold. Back in the flight mode, LZY going to be checking 6, but I do believe that... Oh, wait, no, we did go for 6. After Rain, you cheeky man, he didn't even start main. He just thought, I really want to get this 6 generator done. They're really playing for it here now. I'm not too sure if we do get it done, unfortunately, after that down there. So Thank You now in a predicament of trying to escape with the remaining stages he has at the moment. Because if we somehow manage to tie it up 4K2 apiece, the win will go to the opposite team, being FERRON. But LZY has already put forth a statement here against FERRON to show he is not here to mess around. We are going for the exit gate though here, so surely LZY selects the correct gate after getting eyes on the other one there over at 2. No, he's going to choose the wrong one, isn't he? Oh, it's close. Oh, the Magnus, the Eye of Magnus. Does he make it in time? Wait, you have to... No, you have to send that gate. Why are we leaving it? Nah. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, he's got to be going down and it just doesn't matter anymore. He had to play for that. What else can you do in this scenario?
Honestly, Hunter, in that scenario, you just got to give a hope and a prayer.
Cindy!
Why?
Just Cindy, mate! Get your head in the game, and the game, as it currently stands, is going to be Dylan from FERRON on the killer, and for Nyx is going to be LZY, Wolf, Lyrial, and Cam1. So we got to see what they can pull out of the hat. So, you know, LZY being the new addition to Nyx as well. So in teaming up with Lyrial is dangerous. I know what these two boys are actually capable of, so we'll have to wait and see what really pans out in the next trial, but I can only think of good things as far as the Survivor team goes. Dylan has some boots to fill here, so we'll have to wait and see what he can really pull out of the hat. This isn't the same, like... No, sorry, I do apologize. Regardless, Dylan is going to be taking flight here over towards the middle of the map where we would be trying to sniff out any rotations. Going to be using that Iron Magnus very early on as we do catch sight of 2 survivors there. One over the top of main, one on the backside of 11. So, I mean, take your pick. Who do you want to chase right now, Dylan? So... we do manage to see Wolf here trying to make the rotation over at 3, so it's somebody who was never actually caught with the Eye of Magnus. That pallet's going to go straight up after it being thrown. The mighty unfortunate stuff, and we're not able to make enough distance to use middle. So do we even make the window? We're going to potentially be body blocked at... Oh, we do. And we do still have life to our disposal, sorry. We are going to be trying to dodge the skulls there. We do so effectively, making for a very nice chase. Dylan doesn't want any of it. He's going to go straight back for something a little bit more in his best interest.
Yeah, 100%. Like, when you're playing for a 4K3 win con, you're going to be getting fast chases. Like, I think what Dylan saw is just the fact that he probably was not going to be getting 11 there too fast. So he's taken the smart play and just decided to leave. But what will it cost him with no ruin being in game? The amount of like regression that you'll be gaining. But wait, we see Dragon's Grip. This is actually huge potential. Even though LZY is looking dapper as all hell, we're gonna see that he is exposed for the next 60 seconds, and all it takes is just 1m1 and LZY is going down. So how will he? I'd assume he'd play around this with everything, trying to take like as many skulls as possible. Wait, is this... Oh, but he's not going to get shot through it. LZY does the shooting, but he does not get shot. Where is the justice? As we see Jen get popped, in this position in the last game, LZY was getting his first hook with the painters. Right now, Dylan he's getting his first down in about 5 seconds, but with the amount of pressure that Dylan has, it's not quite the same as what LZY did. So it's going to look a lot rougher going in to, and we don't even see a pain race. We love our, oh, there we go. Nah, we're not making that. We love RNG. Like, oh, it's poor Dylan, bro. LZY had a good compared to this, man.
Yep, that is the trade-off with a Dragon's Grip in the trial. It is a mean perk, it is a damaging perk, and you see why it just lasts forever. Now they know it's in the trial, they can play around it though. So we do see the Killer Instinct over in main. We do try to press off over in the corner of one, somebody vaulting the window there. So not quite catching the sight onto one of our survivors. Cam 1 it is, so he's going to be running around this pallet and dropping it after it being picked up, crouching the skulls very nicely too. There goes the break as well, so really trying to catch them in an unsavory location as we do take the break here on the corner of one. Over at 7, you do see our doubling survivors working those generators, trying to slam them out as efficiently as possible. So there's some nice pressure on the map, nothing too dangerously close. Oh no, Wolf is dropped into the loving embrace of Dylan, and you hate to see that. That's just absolutely horrible. It happens to the best of us, do not worry, as we do take the pick up here. We are playing a little bit of a wholesome Chungus killer as we've lost our tunnel out. LZY was just slamming out Pistons with Lyriel in the background somewhere off in the distance. Not too sure where, but he's going to be just to a halt at this current moment. And if we do elect to go down into 8, we could potentially slow the game down even more. And look at that, Dylan on the case, straight in that flight mode if he does need it. He is going to just take the kick onto this generator here. That's going to be the eruption applied, but no Dragon's Grip. As we do traverse back into the middle of the map here, that is going to be our ace straight back on that generator. So knowing that the gen was on cooldown, knows he can play aggressive for it, W stuff. As we do see Wolf drop down entirely, now has to win the window as we have no more endurance status effect. But we got life in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And we've made enough distance for this chase not to really be too worrisome. Even faking the window vault, but, you know, Dylan, a little too smart for that, is just going to force the grab there onto Wolf. And all of a sudden, I'm not quite too sure who has the upper hand. You want to say it's the killer at this point, because on paper, it's looking like it could potentially be a 4K1 scenario, which, if we compare it to last result, is not enough. So you can 4K2 for the tie. With a tunnel out so close, Wolf, the gens are definitely manageable. 3 generators currently remaining. It's a toss-up. It's anybody's game, Nosy.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, first of all, our unhooker is now exposed, so he can't get the unhook anymore. Thank you, Dragon's Grip. We salute that perk. And for the next 60 seconds, what we're going to be seeing is an unhooker gain chase, another unhooker exposed. But at the same time, this is our win con. Like, at this point in the game, we need to have someone dead. We need to have someone dead yesterday even. And yet, here we are face camping, making sure we confirm our stages. Honestly, good play. But when you're playing for a 4K3 win con, it's not worth it, because now we're just going to get the trade. Even if we recycle the painters here. Are we even going to... We are going to hook, thank God. Even if we recycle pain roses here, the amount of pressure that our Ace and our LZY are actually going to be getting is just... So, because if they're doubling the gen especially, getting this tunnel out won't impact a whole lot. He will make it the Tycon, and he will definitely be able to play aggressive in that Tycon. But, oh, I don't know, Hunter. I think this is a bit... Oh, it's looking dicey for our boy Dylan here. But, oh, even though he tried to fake it, he still gets hit there. Okay, maybe Dylan is speaking a game I'm unfamiliar with. What do you think, Hunter?
It's grim. It's extremely grim for the serves. Getting a hook here. If he goes back to main, he's able to interrupt once more, and it does prove to be problematic. Actually, it's over at 1, so he just needs to send at 1. Don't worry about the reset, even if you do hear it. Push LZY off the generator. Still hold on to dear life for that 4K3. They are going to be slamming out main, though, and that they are doing effectively here. But we are caught at a loss here at these 2 pallets. They're not as strong as you would have thought. LZY playing very good amongst them, though, does use the window, and no pallet though. So we are really trying to get him in that sweet spot of where we can vault the window and get the down. When we do so nicely here, now we have to slug the... Oh, that just allows them to pop main. No, he's missed it because he's short swinged. Oh, and all of a sudden, the survivors are on the front foot now. With only one generator remaining for the win condition, they definitely can pop one underneath the killer's nose if the chase is to last a little bit longer on the side of LZY, and he's showing why that Nyx picked him up. Faking the window, there is Cam1. Luriel trying to play for this generator over at 1 as well, but does result in a tag because he's played a little too aggressive after just narrowly dodging the skulls there. LZY caught at a loss over at 3. Cam1 still somewhere over at 1. Now LZY just trying to play the guest spots here around the 4 walls, the check spots rather, not guest spots, but we do pre-drop the pallet here. Try to make away with the distance that we have been awarded, but it does not matter. Dylan putting the powers back in the back pocket, throwing up those gang signs, trying to get something out of nothing here. Does ultimately pick up the pallet and is trying to play his tags. Oh my god, and he does not make it. He gets stunned. And we've gone back to 1 here, which is still regressing, might I add. Now, I'm quite interested to understand whether the survivors will be, trying to play for those gens over in the far distance of 7, but no, they are just going to be healing here. They do only have to pop one more. The split is quite mean to our killer, but we've definitely seen worse. That gen over in 7 is going to be hard to work with. Hang on a second, we've caught out the reset, and that's flipped the game on its head for potentially the tie.
Yeah, honestly, dude, like the fact that getting the double to there, spoiling the reset, getting both of them down, and all of a sudden, we're in for a tie. We didn't know we were actually going to be able to get to this point. Even though we're at the win con, it was still just massively tilting the survivor side. Now we've got Dylan in the driver's seat, pedal to the metal, and honestly, it's looking kind of gloomy for Nyx. I'm going to be honest with you, Hunter, because now we're going to have to somehow waddle our way down to 6 from, what's that, 11, maybe even 12. He's going to have to cross the entire map. And even though, we still have Dragon's Grip up, that's right. So even if he goes to touch a gen and try and work it, we're going to know he's going to touch a gen and he's going to be exposed. So can't even work it. What do you do in this situation? Like, give a hope and a pray, say your Hail Marys, amen. What are you supposed to do? Because now we're going to see a Pain Rose coming in onto that gen at 1. I think we're just going to be getting the unhook on either pick on LZY now. Yeah, we are. But then what? We got Fly, we got Source, we have every single power up. I'm going to get a hit. Oh, just barely missing it. And then we're going to get this stun. Okay, I was unfamiliar with my boy Kim. What was that? I can't see. I'm blind. My bad, guys. I am unfamiliar with Quante Young's game. And now he's going to go for the unhook. But we're going to catch LZY. Like, so many events happening all at once. Thank you, Spectator, for catching all of it. It's making me very happy.
Making me very happy indeed as well, and we managed to just evade that down just after the window. Nyx putting on the absolute show, but unfortunately, we just get hit. Even though we faked that pellet, we had Bloodlust 1 in hand to just make up for all the distance we had lost, and ultimately LZY being hooked in front of the 1 generator here can prove to be a little bit troublesome for Nyx now, because somehow they need to get LZY up and at him at the game, all while maintaining all health states if possible. Our killer has a mission to go push off the gens, anybody that is working them. I'm not even too sure if they know about 7, because for some reason Luriel is still hanging around the middle of the map. He needs to just get away and work 7 off in the distance, play for the win condition. He is going to be eating a tag and forcing chase over towards 11. LZY playing extra aggressive on the generators now, has to be careful that he's not caught out with his pants down. So Cam1 just kind of hiding around 1 as well. Luriel needs to just start working 7 so they disperse the pressure on the map, but he's opted to go for the middle of the map again. He definitely does not know that generator over at 7 is still in the game. Or potentially maybe he chooses a closer generator so he has more to run onto as to opposed of being pushed in the corner. That might be the case. However, it is closer and it is more manageable for our killer in the long run here to pressure survivors off of this middle generator and 1 simultaneously, because the 1 survivors are being pushed in the corner ultimately anyway. They only have main to be working with and sometimes can be body blocked from it regardless. LZY now going to be taking the chase here over at 8. He only has 1 more stage, 1 more health state to spare, but needs to make do with whatever he has, and now only has the L-War to be working with. The pallet goes up with the mage hand. He is down on the floor, and all of a sudden only 2 survivors in the trial remain. Cam1 somewhere on the map Literal doesn't have enough gen pressure for anything to be a problem. They're doubling the gen now, and the pain resonance we completely forgot about. And it's all gone to shit, Nosy. It's all down the toilet.
It absolutely has. I was actually going to say, do you know who the last pain was? Because it was actually LZY. Dylan being smart, he heard the gen had no pressure and took a massive gamble that 7 wasn't getting worked on. He decided to save the painters, and oh my god, has it just saved him the game. He's now in for a tie, and we're honestly looking at a very similar situation to what LZY had, where honestly even better, because we have 2 survivors. Even though that Cam 1 is fully healed, the fact that we have that Dragon's Grip happening means that he isn't safe. He's effectively playing injured, and now we have an actual survivor's injured who's in chase right now, and the gens like erupted. I was about to say, even though we don't have Ruin in the game like we did with LZY, we still got the pressure. We still have that instant ability, and the fact that we have just eruption piling on these fucking gens. I'm telling you, Hunter, like, I would be shocked if he doesn't tie this.
I would be immensely shocked too. Cam 1 going down after the Dragon's Grip. Mid, nowhere near done. Needs to be careful here. If Literal does escape with 2 remaining stages, this will be the win for Nyx as to oppose a FERRON. So he'll want to solidify the tie condition if he can manage to find our survivor Literal just slamming out the middle of the map. So surely he doesn't get into his head too much. He is going to have a nice vantage point up here, and we're just slamming it out. Look at that. There's only 3 pistons done, all in the end, all for naught. It is going to be the 4K2 tie. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, OSL is in it for the long run.
Staying with us, much appreciated. We are going to be going into a mastermind set, kind of the staple of OSL as we see it, on the Cold Tower 1, because God forbid we have any other killer on any other map. And here we are on FERRON's pick. We see Dylan, after performing the 4K2, absolute sendy of a Lich set, we're now going to be playing Wesker. I have no idea what Alan's is open. I feel like Dylan's a kind of a beetle man. I reckon he's going to get some huge beetle value as well. I'm probably wrong, but you know what? That's the beauty of having bugs in the game. Isn't that right, Hunter?
Yeah, it is quite the, you know, beauty of the characteristic regardless. It's going to be Wolf straight off the rip in chase here. That's going to be him slammed into the corner of the wall of the pallet gym there, sorry. So we're going to be able to make some distance off of that, as we are on the incorrect side, our killer that is. Now following up here on the upper half of main, I'm wondering if this is balanced landing because I didn't quite get a look at the builds, but it is the time to check in with no grunts. You know that one's balanced, and we're straight back to where we had started. And then we win 150, that's 50 bucks. Win the second, that's 100. Can we count the 50s? Surely. All right, surely we win some more. 150 bucks going once. Yes, 150 bucks. No. Okay, I'll count that as 100. That's unfortunate. So, I mean, pretty strong first chase for a Wesker set. It's not the best we've seen, but it definitely puts them on the radar for success.
Yeah, 100%. Seeing this double actually getting stopped, are we going to see some turn back the clock value? Because even then, just remotely, we're going to telepathically stare at this gen. And there we go. Beautiful. Enjoy your gen progress. But we're just going to barely miss that. But you know what? It's honestly fine, because even with the gen probably going to pop, we see a really fast tunnel. But no, we're going to go back. We decided, you know what? I don't really need to tunnel that. And you know what? Dylan, get in there. Because now we've got a bow block, and there's the tap. So now we have someone injured and hooked. I think that was that working main. Even then, it's not too safe. But I found out from refs, thank you very much, refs, that he does have beetle. Like, I can tell, bro. Dylan seems like the kind of player who just plays aggressive. And you know what? We've just seen it there. Going straight back to LZY, even though the unhook happened, despite the fact he wasn't able to pop the gen, and actually, or wasn't able to stop the gen from popping, we did see that it actually wasn't too advantageous for Nyx to give up LZY's hook. Because now we're going to have guaranteed info on Wolf, knowing exactly where he is, and he's injured, and we've just spotted the unhook. We only have one person on gens. Hunter, what do we think of the state of this?
Oh, it's just scary seeing Dylan actually put on a very aggressive game style here. He's always just never really, he's just holding W to some degree. Even though you see some kind of mind games here, the momentum just doesn't stop. And we do have our power up here. That's going to be the throw into Shaq there. And I do believe could potentially even be the down. No, we do not follow up after throwing him into the wall of Shaq. We're happy to just kind of camp out the second stage. On to LZY. Lyrial, in the meantime, working his gen often. I do believe it's main. Oh, no, it's not Lyrial working main. Lyrial's working A, and main is being worked by Wolf, so there is some nice gen pressure on the board at the very least. In return, we get one stage allocated towards us for our killer, and then a closer tunnel out, so LZY will be hitting that second stage right now, as we do hear Lyrial working this gen over at 8. We are going to be interrupting it. Now, the question is, do we sniff him out or do we go back for the hook for the quick tunnel out? We're doing a little bit of both. We're trying to catch sight on anybody who might be rotating for the save, and then we can go pressure those gens if we see nobody, hear nobody, see no evil, hear no evil. So we are just going to be trying to get that survive on the corner there. Lyrial playing very preemptive with it, and you know what? He still has the means to play aggressive for that generator over at 8, as we have left Dylan now just trying to follow up the tunnel out onto LZY. Now LZY does have the last here. The span of the mid to late game all really depends on this chase, and with life being propped, it is going to be a little bit harder for our killer to get this down onto LZY. Now the mind game's coming in. We do miss one dash. We don't make the second because we've made enough distance to dodge it entirely, and we're getting the bodies that we need to keep LZY alive. All in the meantime, we do have one survivor off on the generators there. We do, I think it's a Wolf somewhere in the distance ready for a down or something. I went to go double Shaq regardless. It can be Lyrial taking a hit if we do need it, but that will be all survivors left in the trial injured, and that can prove to be pretty bad. Often the 4K once, or often the particular often the potential 4K one scenario, but we get an FTP behind the wall of the tile of 5. Dylan, again, really trying to follow up here. Has to ditch the tunnel out if he is to keep himself in the game. That's going to be the eruption proc onto Shaq, and maybe even the interruption as well, as we do pre-drop the Shaq pallet in his face. Do we have enough distance to make 5? I think we do barely. Just barely, Nolsey.
Yeah, just barely, dude. And now we've, like, even though, wait, hold on, we've spotted our turn on LZY and he's full infected. One dash is all it takes. And are we going to see it come in? No. We're going to see some amazing parking from LZY. I remember when Wesker first came out, the way I knew how to play against him was playing like he was a bad nurse. And even then, LZY was just incorporating that straight into him. And Beetle. Oh, even though LZY is full infected, we're going to see a head-on. Keeping LZY alive just that extra little bit, making sure he does not die. All survivors on the border injured, and we're not even going to be able to save the gen, and we're going to miss Dylan. Like, we keep the aggression rate, but you can't be doing this. You break your heart, man. Come on. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's the down finally onto Wolf, and we've lost a generator because of that chase. The 3 gens that remain in the trial are pretty fast spread. You have one over at 3, one over at 2, and then just in the off distance over there at 11, which is halfway done. If we don't catch on to that, that will pop in our face, and that will be horrible for our killer. There goes the turn back, the clock value gone, but we can still apply eruption onto 11. We do see it was being doubled once upon a time, but with the commit of the chase over at 11, it does allow our survivors to go for a 2-2 split in a chase over here at corner 11. So, you would only hope that the survivors go and work that generator over at 3 and double it out after getting the unhook, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're not going for any kind of reset here. Everybody prone to being downed now. Dylan can capitalize on that fact if he plays his cards right. It is still going to be a little bit on the harder side because there is a fair few resources to be working with, but honestly, they're just going to slow down the game after Dylan leaving and go for the resets anyway, where they can potentially even just double out 11 or even go for a 2-2 split where one works 3, one works 11, might even be a little bit more favorable. They have options. It really just depends on what they decide to do after getting this heal happening. So LZY up and at him again. Lyrial up and at him again. it's still funny enough anybody's game, but the survivors do have the upper hand.
Yeah, 100%. Like, we see Dylan with this absolute stacked pub demolisher of a like build. Was corrupt, your option, you turn back and fuck your parents. Absolute weapon of a build. But the issue is, I still see 4 survivors, and unless I'm not counting right, 4 survivors is not 3 survivors. We need 3 survivors in a game like this. Having 3 survivors means that only one person can be on a gen, if one person is stealthy and one person is get like on hook. Having that additional survivor, 90 seconds turns into like 50 seconds if they're doubling a gen. And the fact that they can just 2-2 split and do that means that Dylan's gonna be on a constant timer, and just off the gen pressure we see, I don't even know if he's gonna make it before the gen pops. Oh, it's gonna be tight. Oh, we're gonna send Wolf into the Shadow Realm, but the gen pops regardless. That's heartbreaking to see, Hunter, honestly. We saw Dylan play so well. It's just a few small mistakes, and it's just costing the game.
It has. He only has 4 stages to his name. Hopefully he can find one of his fresh hooks here to change it back. All in the meantime, doesn't really see anybody, but does manage to spot out Cam 1. This is the perfect survivor. We have LZY ready to die for him if we do need, but he has the extra health state to last a little bit longer if he is tagged. I don't think we're going to be able to make it. Oh, maybe we'd have to utilize the heal. LZY knows that, but we can't miss this last dash. And we've diverted just for a little bit. We've gone down just in front of the exit gate. We're going to have to force these survivors out the door, to which Wolf leaves. LZY still in the trial playing for this save. Wait, is he actually just going to just full give up his... No, he can't. He can't. They're going to be just taking out the remaining survivors out the door. Actually, no, he can play for the pull to preserve the extra. One more stage thrown into the wall there. No, you've been thrown. To go for it, the beetle, yeah. Oh no.
Honestly.
Hopefully this time around everything is nice and dandy. We do have, yes, playable ping this time around, so alternatively, you're actually meant to be on 60 ms if you are going from SCA to NEA, with the exception of some locations being a little bit on the higher end, this being Zanau's case where he's unable to actually get above 100 ms, unfortunately, and Chief being from the OCE region will always just be at the disadvantage in a set like this. But regardless, we are up and running once more. Our survivors just making their rotations towards the bottom half of the map, where LZY is now just looking in the vicinity of 8, trying to sniff out his first chase of the game here. Not quite finding them just yet, and it's going to be an extra patient game. Stealthing the coal tower, interesting plays, because if it does work, then you're setting yourself up for great success in the... Sorry, I kind of like low-key said that like Borat, but we're going...
A great success.
Yes, that one. Yes, you can set yourself up for great success, but on the off chance, you can just be caught out in a really bad position and then just, you know, give food for thought when it comes to a low fast chase. Chief now getting slammed into the wall there, is now forced on the bottom half of the map after vaulting the window. LZY has the ability to just climb over the top, use his power, and potentially even down Chief just before making the pallet there. And Chief does so very nicely, stunning LZY, delaying the down even furthermore for a better chase than what we thought was going to happen. The balance landing in his back pocket too, and you love to see it, breaking all kinds of line of sight. He's going to be able to make the shack potentially. There it is. Yes, because we have to hold that bound. No! Oh, we had it on the split second of it being retracted back. He was able to down Chief in just the nick of time. It was looking very fortunate for Chief. His pathing was excellent, but I mean, it just proved to be a little bit too difficult in the long run, because Myro Myful were able to actually last just maybe a few more seconds and not get tagged there. That gen in mid would have been popping, and that's a crucial one to get out of the way at this point in time. As we press the survivor off the generator here over at 11, this will be our Meg players, and now who's just forced on the opposite side of pallet possession. He's just going to be getting swung through the pallet. He's opted to drop the pallet and try to stun the killer before this hit, but gets the stun. does not evade it untouched. He is trying to go around the boxes here and try to unzone himself into the pallet, and the Jiggy is crazy, but we've been thrown into a whole lot of nothing. We can last just a little bit longer and just die in deep in the corner to where we actually get that middle generator done and out of the trial. So props to the survivors for doing a good split very early on.
Yeah, 100%. Little castle knowledge lore for you guys. When Chief was actually near casting the very first game of the night, I know it was about 6 hours ago, but he actually was saying he was going to be IGLing. So my guess is Chief in that first chase thought he was going to last a little bit longer, but then he got hit with the long hard brick that is 130 ping against LZY. And as we all know, LZY is strapped. We saw that in the Lich chat. He loves just banging people just because he can. Because he's just like that. He's him like that. And we saw that in this chase against Zanal as well, just on that, like, what, 11 filler, where even though it didn't look like it hit straight on his screen. Even though it looked a bit dodgy, it still hit. And we're going to be seeing him getting zoned here, but just a slight miss, and Zanal's going to be getting the shack probably. But he doesn't quite make, he's going to get zoned. I don't think it's going to be his fault. Oh, but he gets shot again, Hunter.
That's horrible. It's horrible. No, but you know what? Still workable for the survivors. I think they just needed a few extra seconds to get more pistons pumping, because that gen over in mid 3 is going to be a nightmare to break up. No pain resonance. Oh, actually, there's pain resonance. I am sorely mistaken, because Chief was the first pain resonance of the trial there, so it's going to negate the pressure over at 11. After Rain just kind of caught in the guts of main. It doesn't really have enough to go on. LZY looking around 1, knows somebody's in this vicinity, but we know they're hiding out at 2, and we've just lost sight of the killer for just a split second. Dylan now taking the chase here over at the 4 walls of the corner 2, sorry. We do manage to get the pull onto Zanao. We do manage to take the tag as well shortly after the FTP, so it was all for nothing. That's just not what you want to see as far as our survivors go. Pre-dropping this shack pallet here to extend the chase just a little bit longer for what the survivors need to pop those last remaining generators over on the top portion of this map. Now, LZY pretty happy to commit here. Throws our survivor into a whole lot of nothing. Now, do they make the pallet behind them? Pulling up the power again. Does he make it? No, he's going for the M1, and we've preemptively dropped the pallet here, winning 250s, 350s. Oh, no, and we've been slammed into the boxes, but we do manage to get 11 done as a result of it. They are just going to be slamming out 3 and 1. Actually, no, they've ditched 3 entirely, so it will be main and 1. Now, where does LZY go from here? Does he go and check on 1, or does he go check on main? We know Chief is just kind of made redundant at the moment, but After Rain still in a very exposed position. No balance landing in his perk repertoire, so he is really unable to make any distance to anything favorable. He will be just dying in the active. Ready for a beamer save is Dylan. This could potentially be it. Yeah, up and running, keep on going on your bike, son!
Jason Bourne, bro, he's here. Dylan, I was unfamiliar with how the hell you handle that gun as well. Even though it's the same extent as LZY, he blasted him, mate. But we're gonna go back to this chase. Honestly, that was a slight macro mistake. I don't know why we saw After Rain working the main gen injured without balance landing. But just Dylan, they're able to make sure this dude can last a little bit longer, just even if it's a smidge bit longer. But we're not going to be seeing the gen pop for it, and honestly, that's tragic, Hunter. Because in this position, you need all the gens pop as you can. Back when we saw this in the last game, Dylan didn't have this same kind of pressure. LZY is in a potential 4K2, maybe even 4K3 scenario, which we just did not see from Dylan. So props to him. But with survivors, with Dylan getting the chase now, he's going to prove wrong. He's going to bring us back into this game. Bit of an overshot coming from LZY. Wait, rapid response mixed with the light. This is an absolutely crazy build as well, because you vault the pallet or the window, you see the killer's aura for 4 seconds. Like, what's the killer gonna do? He's gonna have a tanty, I think. But are we gonna get flicky? And we get I just zone him straight out there. No flares coming in from Dylan. Just unfortunate to see. Gonna get these last pain rates. So we're now limited down to a brutal interruption. But honestly, you got main, you got 1, and you got this 3 mid gen. ain't looking too good, Hunter. Wesko's able just to, and we see someone scratch marks. We've seen injured survivors scratch marks. I'm shocked that he didn't hit that, but we're gonna see that smash it 5 moves ahead get used, and we're gonna make it straight down the bot. And is LZY community? LZY's community. Oh, yeah. This is why like Serpentile, actually a terrible tile. Like what? Check spots? Nah, guess spots, mate. That's what we play with. And unfortunately, didn't quite work out for After Aim. Gonna see this hook, and I believe that is our win con. Unless I can't do math, guys. I don't think I can do math. I can't do math.
No. Look at the score sheet, sir. It is 7 stages at the moment. So I mean, we cannot afford to give up any more. That is correct. We're leading by a fresh hook. We're not leading by hooks just yet. So the moment we get the next stage will be the moment that Knicks do take away this set, and we'll be heading on into the tiebreaker of Ghoul. Now, pulling up here on the back half of 12, we have all the time in the world to get this down. Unless something were to go egregiously wrong to the point where we just spiral out of control and 2 gens just get done in our face. But hang on a second, with a light vault like that and a pre-drop of the main filler back into the middle, we can potentially extend this chase at the very least. Now, after this pallet has been thrown, the map is bold as hell. You can't really chase over at 3, 2, and 4 because the pallets have all been thrown very early on in the trial. And unfortunately, Dylan thrown into the boxes there. He's not going to be able to make anything on the floor anymore, but LZY playing for the highest 4K possible is now just going to slug that on the outside of main and go to 12. We are going to be slamming Chief into the drop filler pallet here over at 2 in the in the 4 walls lane. We do have the R and L to work with, but no pallet in there as we had dropped it earlier. Going to be going for the pickup here in the safe play. Dylan now is going to be hooked and will be leading by a fresh hook. So the set point, like I said, will go to Knicks 1-0 at this very moment. Do still have Ghoul to play through, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out though, Nolsey.
Yeah, it's a bit tragic to say. Also, I did not know that I was supposed to shut up until you finished. My earnest apologies. But as we see, Fresh will come in, and oh my god, Hinako was loud. Holy hell. But like, it's kind of tragic to see Dylan put his heart and soul into that end game in the last game, and we just see LZY. He's in this mid game and just got so much pressure. There's little to no resources, and we're just gonna snipe people. I call Dylan Jason Bourne. We got the Jason Bourne Senior with LZY. He shoots people close range. He shoots them long range. I was thinking in my head just before Hinako got found that people were saying that Darth Vader should be in the game. We already have him. He's LZY. The amount of times he's just force grabbing people, just choking them, and his bloody his sword is pretty much a lightsaber. We don't need Darth Vader because he's already here in OSL as LZY. I am convinced no one can speak otherwise against it. That is my TED Talk. Thank you for listening.
Darth Vader, I love it. That's going to be LZY's new nickname. And as with Mr. Sir Vader, Lord Vader, Sir Vader Harm, I don't remember the funny the funny name for him, but we are going to be missing those dashes onto Chief ultimately, who's going to be going down into Deep Six, and unfortunately it's not really going to mean much because we're going to actually go back down over into the middle of the map, and we're going to spot out Dylan, who's really just playing out for the last generator. So these two boys aren't really going to be able to do a whole lot from here on out. The game's just kind of stagnant at a 4K too, so we need to start thinking about the next set and keeping our heads up high as we do see our Renato just leave 1, go to the backside of 12. LZY's just kind of stopped in the middle there. I'm not too sure what's going on. Maybe switching to 30 FPS to get some crazy hits. We are going for a little bit of flicks on this back half tile over at 12. Going to be breaking the pallet and continuing on the chase over at 11, but he does not really have anything to be working with other than to drop the pallet and this very weird fill-up. This really weird tile that you called it something beforehand, and I don't remember what it was, but as we pre-drop this pallet here over at 9, again trying to extend the chase just a little bit longer and give ourselves a fighting chance. We are just caught on the edge of the rock there, and the tree LZY trying everything in the books that is fancy and trying to get some clip farming on the Twitter going, but honestly, you should just probably just chalk it up to the M1 and just finish the game off nice and quickly for us, please, for the love of God, as we do drop the pallets here over at 7. We have been caught at a loss. This will be Dylan straight slammed into the tree, back on the Wesker's shoulders, on the floor for the Mori potentially, or just even hooked. How do you like me now? So again, moving on to the goal on
Ice cream, just in that short intermission. But I think the reason why it's so cold is because we see Cam. Wait, is that Cam 1? Wait, am I smashed? Wait, no, we see. I am smashed. Wait, that is Cam 1. Cam 1 taking over on the goal. This is a bit of a change up, I see. As we, oh, I forgot Ghoul is on Suffer Pin 1. I love choke maps. Choke maps are the best, but only when you're playing Killer. They're boring as hell on Survivor, man. But we see this tight 4-gen with the ruin in the middle of it. Where Survivors spawn. They've spawned that ruin and go, I want to touch that, bro. If it glows, it goes. But I'm liking the patience that we've seen from, was it FERRON? I actually might be delusional, guys. My apologies, my earnest apologies. But, Bronkin has definitely been helping me understand my method of casting. He's kind of delusional. What do you think, Hunter?
I mean, we were talking about ice creams in the intermission, so we're all probably a little bit hungry and delusional, but it's going to be Cam 1 here, just still forever in search of his first chase off the rip here. Usually you tend to find them pretty early on as the goal and go for your early tags. And as I say that Caster's Curse, we're going to be spotting Dylan trying to make a cheeky rotation, but nothing of the sort will be accomplished today without being actually marked with the Kagune tag. No. As Cam 1 does take that tag, he's going back to the bottom of the map where he can potentially catch someone out working this generator here. And we don't manage to find anyone after tagging Dylan, so our survivors again playing extra cautiously. Look at After Rain stealthing in the basement even. Why not? Because who would anticipate you'd go into the basement this early on? There's a few killers out there, but it's definitely not Cam 1 this time around. Still enraged for the time being. So can definitely take advantage of that if he does manage to find someone, but still struggling here, Nosy.
Yeah, no, 100%. The survivors of FERRON are just playing slow, nicely. We see Corrupt going, even though we did get that early Kagune leap tag, we're just gonna play slow, nice, and chillax. We got I think it was After Rain, just sitting in the basement. We're gonna see Dylan once again. Nice sprint first champion. We'd love to see it. Love the energy. Honestly. And there, yeah, we're gonna see the room, bro. If it glows, it goes. Like, thank God there's no haunted ground. Otherwise, Dylan might be a bit more cooked than he is right now. That's a huge fast goal. Being able to unzone himself in. Dylan, hey, I'm telling you, hold on, I'm gonna manifest this actually. Dylan is going to. Oh no, I was gonna say he was gonna run it for 5 gens, but he's not. Oh, bro, I'm cursing this guy. I'm so sorry, Dylan. You're looking back at this, bro. I'm #1 fan, bro. Get in there. But as we're seeing Dylan actually go down, which is rather unfortunate, we see Cam 1 going to get this mid hook. Not a painter, but he knows that gen bot mid is getting worked on. Even though it's not doubled, it's still going to be high prog. But that's because we saw 2-2 split, 2 bot, 2 top. I guarantee you're going to see someone in the basement. If we don't, like, I'm never going to speak again in one of these macro sets because I just don't know anything. I'm a micro guy.
Flick, see if anybody's in the basement. Flick, if anyone's in the basement.
Go on. No! yeah, my bad. Oh, shut up. I'll pass the torch on Hunter.
And I will take the torch and lead it to victory. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so Cam 1 now, just after getting that hook, is happy to just kind of camp mid. Can do so nicely. After getting a Kagune tag, you're not going to be able to get that trade without a repercussion underneath any circumstance. After Rain now is trying to make her way with as much distance from the middle as humanly possible. As we do pre-drop this pallet here over at the top midsection, we do still have access to the pallet gym just laid out nicely for us. As that's go down as well, we're getting rid of some very strong resources in this chase, but you do have to use them at some point of the trial, and we have elected to do so. Near close to 1 one generator popping for one hook, and it's honestly not the worst thing in the world, as we do potentially pre-drop this again. Do we manage to get the back vault? No, because we turned at the last minute to get the back vault after the killer has vaulted the pallet with the tentacles, specifically the ghoul. This is specifically a ghoul thing. You need to stand still to get that back vault. As soon as you move off the pallet, you lose precedence. Therefore, we'll just go down, and that's what you see happening there. But we do have very good gen pressure to break up the 3 gen on both sides. So now we can disperse our pressure evenly. We do have the gen here over at 4, 5, and 7. So there's technically a 3 gen over at bottom half. I don't know about top, though. I don't think there particularly is. Regardless, Dylan now is going to be healing with inner strength over at the top. More in towards main with the lockers and whatnot. Diary and our Jake Park around me just kind of stealthing about and just making sure they're not spotted out by our killer, and trying to really recollect and go back for this unhook and get themselves in position to do so. As we do see Dylan here just being caught in the Renato suit, probably just more so around 12. We are going to be chasing up here as well. So, you know, Cam 1 can elect to chase this, but does need to technically make it quick. This is going to be the resumed tunnel out from moments ago earlier on in the trial. As we do go down just after the window there, we didn't really have much to go on. Now we need to drag him back to mid as far as possible, but we have elected to go for the pain resonance here to slow the game down even more, which is the next best thing. Okay, so in regards to hooking him as close to main as possible, if it's a pain resonance in trade for maybe a hook that you could have had closer to the gens that you've been allocated, that is also permissible. It is also setting yourself up for success in the long run. And now Cam 1 just putting those tentacles away after traversing back into the middle of the map is going to try and spot out his next chase, where we see some scratch marks leading over into 2, or potentially into this gen here over at 3, 4, sorry, rather. We do get the tag here around me now. The next survivor in chase and is fresh for that next stack of pain resonance to slow the game down even more. So we have to be extra careful that we don't give that to our killer freely. We do see here over at 7 that it was once upon a time being pressured to the best of our ability, but we able to just W away from it and use the window. Diary now in chase, drops the firecracker preemptively. Oh, that is the disgusting injure through the wall. How has he managed to do that? I don't care if there's 60 ping involved here. That should not happen in any circumstance. As we do now vault the window here, we are going to be back vaulting it, but we're going to be ultimately winning the 50s at the cost of 3 volts. So the shack window is no longer able to be used, but the pallet is. I don't think we have enough distance to make it. Unfortunately, we can die at the pallet though for a pallet save. We'll be body blocked, so I don't think that'll happen in any regard. Our survivor, Jake Park, caught at a loss, is injured, needs to go for the pool, but doesn't want to get exposed, like put himself in a bad position to where he could potentially go down in front of the hook. Our survivors are still trying to progress the game off somewhere on the map. Cam 1 back on gen patrol. He's going to be using those tentacles to get from point A to point B very effectively, very quickly. That's going to be another tag onto around me there. So back in business, Cam 1 now on the prowl once more. Dylan just stealthing around the rocks there, and we do have After Rain just slamming out that piston to at least pull it back to the 4K2, because right now things are looking pretty grim for FERRON, I can't lie to you.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that is kind of worth looking into is the kind of methodology behind what this survivor's doing, because in most scenarios we want survivors to be running as far away from threes as possible. Rather, we actually see FERRON kind of playing into the 3 gen, which, like we saw, I believe it was Diary, use Overcome to go back into the shack instead of using Overcome to make oodles of distance. And therein, we see him kind of just mogging the hell out of Cam 1, saying, no, this is my shack pallet, you cannot have it, it is mine to use, and I'm going to use it now. So we see him actually get able to unzone himself, get into 6, or was it? I think it's starvation or agitation or something. It starts with an A. Aggravation, maybe. Oh, we're gonna see reverse. And he unzones himself again. Like, okay. Diary, saying so, mate. Make it to 3. Get up there, son. Make it up the map, please. I bet. Wait, down the pallet. We get stuck. And he's walking, but it doesn't work. Wait, it does work, but it doesn't work. But it does work. But we get to the Z-wall. The Z-wall is safety. Honestly, it doesn't even matter because we make it to the edge 3. Edge 3 here, massive play because now we're able to safely work 7, and that's exactly what we're doing. Dylan, reading my mind, I'm telling you, bro, this guy knows what's up. And even though we're hooking in this like mid hook, it's not looking to, because we've died away from the 3 gen, which is completely honestly flipped the map. Because this gen is what, 90%, and we're gonna see after I'm going in for the actual unhook now, which is gonna allow for a full reset on the 2 injured survivors. And if these 2 survivors just stealth, make sure they don't get found, don't get found. Oh, well, mate, he's gone. He's long stealth. As long as these 2 survivors don't get found, Cam 1 is actually in a dicey situation, even though he is getting less and less pressure, even though he's getting more and more pressure from the gens regressing. But we get a bit too greedy for the gen prong it. And around me gets found it. Is he live? No, he's not. He's going to take a freaky grenade leap, and he's going to get the stagger. Oh no. Oh no, indeed. This is not looking very good. Unless we're going to be able to make this pallet, get ourselves back up to 3. This is where both of the injured survivors are, though. Going to be just getting there. We're going to be able to make it to 1 and to the 2 pallet, maybe. But we're green it. We're going to get a body block coming in. After rain, huge. We're going to see some duty of care come in, I believe. And we're going to see, yeah, look at that distance. Straight able to make it to 11. And we're going to have to leave now. This is actually huge. That 1 body block is able to save around me and allow, and we're going to see the 3 gen pop. Hunter, all of a sudden, it was looking slightly dicey, and now we're just back in it. What do you think, dude?
We're playing Wholesome Chungus Killer. I mean, we have 2 tunnel outs, yet we haven't prioritized one of them, which means that, you know, with 4 survivors left in the trial with only 2 generators remaining, it was only a matter of time before they popped the 3 gen at that point, especially with how far dispersed it was. Now, wait a second. Okay, I didn't know we lose collision by doing that. He just ran straight forward and back into the kill. I thought you had to stay completely still, so I've been actually corrected myself by Master Dylan's gameplay. They even popped the gen. Oh, the dead dude, no, that's disgusting. And we're going to be following up onto around me here for the remaining stages onto him. He does have 3 in his back pocket, so it's going to aid our killer just a little bit more to pull it back to at least the 8th stage if we manage to camp all remaining stages onto our down survivor around me. We're even going to try and get a little bit greedy for the down onto after rain too. If we can manage to pull that off, that'll spell even more stages, potentially 10 if we can camp all those out, but I don't think that's going to be happening underneath any circumstance around me. Now it's just probably going to have to be hooked here off in the corner of 11, and the survivors, it's within their best interest to just leave with all remaining stages. It is quite ambitious to play for the rest of the 2 stages that around me has. You've already put yourself on for like a decent win result here with 4 stages escaping the door, 8 stages. You definitely want to be holding on to that because you don't want to be giving up any more unnecessary ones. I know they want to play ideally for that 6th stage, but it's just not realistic. 6-4 is a great result, but at the cost of your 6-4 being, at the cost of your 8-4 being at risk for a 6-4 is just not worth it in my opinion, unless you are fighting for the absolute win condition that had already been set. But since you're setting it, I think we're going for the okay, we're going for the pull here. We've ventured a little too far from the hook. Our killer getting a little bit too overzealous with his pacing there. I think they may actually get out as a result of this. Diary throwing themselves in front of the killer as they are a death hook survivor, and we've hit them at the wrong time. No, and we've okay, so we've preserved 1 stage at the very least. That's going to be the tag onto Master Dylan there, who probably should have played a little bit more safe. No, don't go for the beam safe. Please just take the out. He knows you're no stop. He picked the ego picked that. That's crazy, because if he just stayed behind the rock, he was pretty much free. After rain caught at the logs here. Our killer going to the top half. Again, I don't think he hears After rain. After rain even playing for the hatch doesn't even want to risk the gate, so they will be going foggy a little bit. Wolf. Yes, I forget about Wolf. I do apologize.
Yeah, 100%. Going into the set, honestly, without cast curse, my money is on FERRON winning. But that being said, I truly believe that if we go into this, having mental is the biggest. Oh no. Oh dearie me. I
Oh,
think
we
that's
have
the
not set the
RPD
correct map.
East. Oh
Hmm.
no. Removing that. Oh, that. Okay, right. What I was going to say before we load on RPD and not Suffering Pit 1 was going into these next games, the mental. It's making sure that we're not egoing if we're playing killer. We're making sure that we're playing smart. And these survivors need to be compound in order to win this. That being said, having that little mistake, there's no Tycon anymore. It's you win or you lose. So the stakes are a bit higher now, especially on our killer, Cat Jang, who although is from what I've heard very good on the go, just the fact that we have to get these 8 stages. There's no like we have to get these 8 stages, whatever fresh, because even if we had a 7-4, we lose off that half a stage. So going into this game, it's making sure that the killer doesn't get too flustered. Even if they have a rough start, they can still make sure that they can bring this back in. But going into, honestly, Hunter, going into, we've got to make sure the builds are proper. Like none of this. I'll chuck in a few comfort perks here and there. No, we're going to make sure we're running full slowdown, corrupt, ruin, eruption, painters, the whole king build, just like as Cam 1 was doing, because those builds on this killer, on this map, are really going to get the most value.
No, you are right in saying that. So let's see what the killer has brought into the trial. It's what the general just requested. Pain Resonance, Pop Goes the Weasel, turn back the clock, corrupt intervention. It's the staple amongst the ghoul sets and even a few other sets and whatnot. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what can really happen here, as we do see Cat Jang now find the first chase very early on in the trial, a lot earlier than Cam 1 did. So it is going to be LZY though here, just using the rock to the best of his ability. We're going to be getting the enraged effect, but no tag, no Kagune tag. It doesn't really matter since now we did eventually get the M1 tag, so we are going to be following up here. But we've doubled back into the back half of main, so using the coal buckets to kind of break the line of sight and make it a little bit harder for Cat Jang to work with, we are going to be taking our tentacles back to the middle of our map, where it is pretty empty. Only that middle of the map there, more towards that 9-10 area, is just very open and can prove to be troublesome for our serves in the later game. But we do see Wolf here is going to be eating a tag and running to the potentially the top side of the map. No, we don't make it there in time. We do have access to the pallet. We're just kind of stuck here over at 8. We do make the window though. Oh no, we don't. Okay, I stand corrected. My god, that is an egregious swing to get that down there, and I would be screaming if my voice wasn't killing me, but unfortunately, it is, where we will be now potentially hooking on top of a pain resonance. I thought in middle, but hey, hello, there's one here just sitting here over at 8. So we'll just take that one very nicely. Take our break at the pallet too, where we can just leave and go back onto gen patrol, make sure that we're pushing off gens, going back to the hook when required, and it just creates this scenario that we've been seeing all night. As we do take the Kagune tag onto Cam 1, he is just going to be hauling us all the way down into 3. Turn back the clock value on that generator over at corner 5 is going to allow to by the distance that you would have lost if you were to kick the generator. So that perk sometimes is just absolutely nasty to be working with. It's basically 2 passive perks that can be used from a distance, one being turn back the clock and the other one being pain resonance. All in the meantime, you do have the likes of Pop Goes the Weasel if you do need it. So Cat Jang now really trying to sniff out whoever's nearby, but doesn't really see anybody. We anticipate that Wolf is up and among us, ready for a pallet save, and we're a little bit scared to take this pick, but we are going for a little bit of a reset there over at 10 as to oppose of just lingering around for the A-gen. If I look at the current scenario we're given with 2 stages allocated towards us with only 1 generator to show for it, it still leads me to believe that Cat Jang is way ahead of this match in comparison to what Cam 1 was at the same point in time. I think we're still just trying to get our first chase down and on the board by the amount of time that's been happening in this match when looking at last. So Literal just stealthing around that pallet gym there, has not been found yet, and I don't think will be found at all, playing extra patient for this pull. We were almost caught out there, but Cat Jang just missing him by the corner of his eye. Still in the pallet gym there, ready for the pull. We're really going to try and force second here, though, and that's going to allow the generators over at top to be pushed. All in the meantime, we actually don't know somebody is stealthing for this pull. and they're just literally to our left. They are just hiding in the pallet gym there. It is Literal. So he is countering the line of sight very effectively. Catjang still thinking he is in the clear, thinking that they are all working gens at this point. Might even leave preemptively, but chooses to play the safe game. You need to be going for the pull now. Otherwise, you've just wasted a whole bunch of time being our ace. Yeah, look at that. I mean, they just hit the second stage. You really just either had to trade for it or be working a gen way long ago, because now maybe we're just happy to take the 2 gens over at top instead. We do end up getting a tag. Catjang now is just able to force the remaining stages onto Cam 1, and that will set us up for the late game. Now, what needs to happen from here on out is we need Cam 1 off the hook. They need a last. You need that one more generator popped over at top, but you also need to flip the map to where you're taking the chase over at top.
Yeah, 100% Hunter. Honestly, going into this game, I wasn't like going into even after the first gen popped, I was not sure if Akil was going to be playing some wholesome chungus like Cam 1 was. But no. Like this dude, yeah, it's been a long day. My bad, guys. But going into it, guy wants blood. He wants it. He wants him dead. And honestly, he's gonna get it, because just seeing the state of the game right now, we have a survivor dead, currently getting, well, not dead yet, but currently getting chased on death hook. We have a guy on the ground. Wait, we're leaving the tunnel. Wholesome Chungus has returned once again. This is the, unless this is a really fast chase, but we do see the survivors getting caught inside the 3 gen, even though, I know, it's not that long. I'm sorry, Wolf, it's not that long, bro. Like, it is what it is, game. But going into this, I don't even know, do we have this pallet gym gen, pallet slot? Actually, we do, barely. He's going to need to play this for his life to get back to the top, because otherwise we're just going to be done straight in the 3 gen, and there's nothing that can be done to it. Hopefully, wait, are we going to get jiggy? Wait, this is a killer mind game. The killer's mind game, so they've lost. They've lost Wolf. Oh, no, we spawned him going straight into Edge 9. But if Wolf is able to pull off a bit of a show off here, actually able to survive, which he's not, because the kid gets straight back onto him, that's just mighty unfortunate. We're going to be dying inside the 3 gen. On Suffer Pit. It's not undoable. It's hard, but it's not undoable. And honestly, Nyx, they're a great team, and I think this is definitely an achievable goal for them to get even out here. But to play for this 6-stage win con is going to be really, really tough, because they're now having to play into Catjang here, which is nothing. Listen, you never want to do this into the killer. You always want the killer to be playing into you, because that way the survivors always have a leg up. Having the killer have a leg up here is so detrimental, because even though we don't see Thanaphobia used here, having the injury means that like LZY is in danger. Having the mend be applied to Wolf here means he doesn't have endurance. He might have the haste, but not the endurance. Even if we're playing for tags here, we got to make sure that Wolf lives, Lyrio lives. We've got to just make sure everyone lives. Like, we need a Guardian Angel, bro. Like, we need a full 2016 Mercy res to make sure everyone stays alive here. And honestly, it's a hope and a prayer. Yeah, we'll huge vault. Oh, but he's gonna get caught in the medium, getting shot through the window. He's on the pallet though. My guess is we got Survivor playing for a pallet save, which is honestly, where's the Guardian Angel? Where's the Guardian Angel? Oh, but no one's there. Catjang caught the bluff. This is not looking too good for our team here, Hunter. Like, what do you think they have to do in order to actually progress, to actually get the result they need?
Finish that reset, step 1. Step 2, they need to disperse the pressure here amongst the 3 gen, which will be extremely hard, especially with 3 perks in essence that are actually able to be used. You still have access to 2 stacks of Pain Resonance, one being LZY, the other being Lyrial. You have access to Pop Goes the Weasel and Turn Back the Clock, so the pressure is going to be negated very effectively, very fast and consecutive, so it'll be back to back. We do see Literal here taking another chase all the way into top. We can commit this. If we manage to kill and down and kill Literal, this will spell the 7.5 stages we are looking at. Technically 8 stages if you were to take away the minus 0.5 penalty, but again, looking extremely in Cat Jang's favor to the point where we will be replaying the Lich set, the Big Lich. So, Cat Jang now trying to play around those tentacles and get that tag onto Cam 1 to kind of further solidify the fact that it's going to be extremely hard for the survivors to work these generators all injured, and now they're in a position where they all have to reset, but that sacrifices the gen time. Can potentially be also caught out, and Cat Jang just body blocking the pallet here is going to spell the down onto Cam 1. Now, Cam 1 going to be on the hook, and there's only going to be 2 survivors left in the trial, so even though that there's not as many stages, or there's just as much stages as last time around, or no, just 1 below. Sorry, I do apologize, I'm not doing the math correctly. Yes, like Nosy said, it's been a long day. On the scorecard, it's looking extremely gruesome because you have 1 generator remaining, LZY and Lirio still in the trial, all unhooked. But what can you do with only 2 survivors remaining here? This is like the dream duo. If they were to ever pull something like this, it'd go down in OSL history to the point, you know, where obviously there is the 2 gens on opposite side, very tight 3 gen, have to last long enough to be able to pop 1 gen and leave, or with your remaining stages. We do see LZY just caught in a little bit of a pickle here. He's going to be just tagged, and we can't afford to overcommit this. It does not matter. Now he has a mission to last at least 90 seconds, so we can get that that last gen done, get a door done as well. All in the meantime, just make sure that he's lasting long enough. Now he is well versed in the 1v1 labs, but even the best in the world find it hard to loop that long in a competitive setting. That will be Cat Jang taking the down there onto LZY, and there was nowhere near enough gen progress to ever be worried about, so that will be him on the hook. That will be 6.5 stages, so we're still trailing by minus 0.5. It doesn't really matter. Force a second onto LZY, you win. Hook Lirial, you win. And he's just ultimately giving Cat Jang practically his life here to get it up and on the way. And I really do I respect the sportsmanship here. No DC of any kind. Surely Cat Jang just takes the down and the hook to kind of just push the match forward. I don't think these players want to be here for too long playing out for that tie. So again, we'll be going back to the Lich set to repeat that. Hopefully no 4K2 ties shenanigans going on here, but it is currently 1 Nyx, 1 FERRON. So FERRON,
I hope not, but if we do, like, I may as well play some Yahtzee and get 4 Yahtzees in a row, man. Because the odds of that happening, I reckon they're pretty small after the whole long night that we've had and the thrilling sets that we've seen. These teams, they want this win. They've shown they want this win, and they're going to do anything for it. Even if that means time and time and time and time. But oh my god, is that I think that's a bottom 5 gen. If I am LZY, I am over the moon at this news. Even though we've only just bought this fight, we gain this god palette out of the way as soon as possible. LZY is just starting the game off in the dominant position, making sure that survivors are positioned away from any kind of resources, and we're going into the punch bowl. But even though we are going to see our survivors getting, we're gonna get a skeleton tag, and we're gonna get the 2-tap. Wait, we're not gonna get the 2-tap.
I don't know. What's happened there? How did we screw that up? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think we just didn't think that he was gonna vault into us. And we were trying to pick up the pallet with Mage Hand and probably had a last-second change of heart, but it does not matter. Thank you. We'll be going down in the corner of 11. All in the meantime, 3 is being doubled by our Nascent Shades after Rain and Diary. So going to be getting this pain resonance nice and early over at 8, and that's going to allow us to be able to cover the middle of the map and try to press them off of the correct generator, given that we actually select the correct one. There goes the Eye of Magnus to see if it can dob anybody in, and it definitely will do so, as there's no way to deflect it this time around. But we do have Flight in hand for when we do catch sight of that killer instinct, and there it is. Da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. We see them on the generators here over at 3. We are going to be selecting the correct spell and throwing up those gang signs, really trying to take advantage of whoever is still left over at this generator, which is going to be Diary here, vaulting the T and then playing around the outside of the L. Even wants to just use main's window, but Flight is going to deny that. We have been a little too overzealous. Double back nicely. We might even just make the pallet inside main, but ultimately just choosing to play around this L&T. We have just emerged from the crouch a little bit too early. That's going to be 3 popped underneath our nose, and we're going to be committing back onto Nia here, who's just rotating around the 2 pallet there. Dropping the firecracker, not really going to mean much. They're down on the floor, Diary, but I will say this, FERRON have had a fairly good start. As we do pick up Diary here, we are going to be hooking them on potentially another Pain Resonance. No, we're going to opt to go for just the middle hook to try and pressure all points of every single different generator. We're not really too worried about negating the pressure at this very moment. And then LZY just placing, you know, the Eye of Magnus back into the corner of 7, thinking that maybe somebody's off in that distance, but we know they're definitely not. That's going to be his only totem cleanse as well, so no more Ruin. He kind of has to just go all the way to the generators to kick them if he wants the regression. No longer can you just go halfway and press them off, but we do see Diary here back in chase. LZY going to be slapping him with that knife in the tag. They're coming in hot. Going to be pulling up the chase into the middle of the map, whereas this nice double pallet that can prove to be pretty troublesome for killers to work with, especially liches on this map, but we've opted to grid it entirely. We do have the skulls on the bottom floor, and we connect them too. Thank you on the floor. Do we pick up? No, we don't, because we know somebody's in the locker. Head on to our disposal, and we're up and away, vaulting the window into the cylinder blocks, but now we know that it is safe to pick up from here on the pallet. Even hook just in front of Shaq. We have already used Pain Resonance on this survivor, but it does not matter too much. They're close to being death and close to being our tunnel out, which is exactly what we need in this instance. We do see the Neo just rotating off of 8, which is our most highly progressed generator. Definitely not the spot you want to be dying, but we do manage to get the FTP in the background. Nu now is the one who is currently injured and broken for the next, 60 seconds, I think, is FTP. I'm not quite too sure, but we are going to be going down into 11 here. That is going to be Diary on the floor, so we have 2 tunnel outs we can choose from. Thank you, still healthy. Diary now on a hook. 4 generators remaining. We need to select at least 1 tunnel out to make sure we can pull a definite good result for at least probably what seems to be a 4K2. And please, I don't want to tie 4K2s anymore. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But we do manage to put the Eye of Magnus back over into 7 as we do take the kick onto 8. Is there anybody nearby? I don't know. Maybe. If there is, they're in deep shit. Yeah, corner 8, corner 7, doesn't matter. It's going to be our tunnel out in chase. It's thank you. And he's been caught with his pants down, but he needs to make something out of this little window in these cylinder blocks. After the 3rd vault, you're not going to be able to use that one anymore, buddy. That's an egregiously long swing, and we definitely could have screwed that up very easily with auto aim, but it does manage to connect here. The tunnel out happening at 4 generators remaining, Nolsey.
Yeah, to you, Mr. Hunter, I say 1-0-0-1-0-0 because you were lagging in a bit, Mr. Robot. But let's look back into this set right now. Having a death at 4 gens. Oh dear. And I believe, yeah, this is going to be tough. Ruin, however, is gone. And we understand that the importance of Ruin in the 3v1 is astronomical. So having that perk gone, I reckon we're actually looking at a decent portion, like decent bit of pedal to the metal, you know. But we're gonna see After Rain game chase here. Don't get Skelly. Don't get Skelly. All right, nice. They've After Rain here. It's taking the jiggy. Understanding that we're seeing the leave on After Rain. Going to check because we know our survivors working it. Maybe potentially, hopefully. Wait, but they've left. They've already pre-left. Going back to After Rain. Are we? We are going back to us, main sure the zone, but to get to Shaq here, this is not a great position for LZY to be in, contrary to the state of the game. Sorry, I am kind of choking on my own words. But seeing After Rain gain chase here, we've got resilience to work through. Amen, get it. But the killer doesn't. Oh, the killer's so pressure. Actually, never mind. Guys, I'm sorry. I don't make any sense. Killer here has LZY has so much pressure in this game to the point where. Wait, there's LZY. Oh my god, if he got that, I had to hold my breath to make sure that did not happen. But LZY here, in a dominant position, seeing 3 survivors injured. The gens are quite split though. We see this 3 gen through the lens of Deja Vu is like bottom mid, top mid, Shaq and 7. This is a hard bit. These are hard bit gens to hold, but we're just gonna have to force lock it in, knowing that we're gonna die. It's tragic. We still have 2 stacks of pain res, and we have this nice pain res hook right here for convenience sake. Straight on that hook we see for you after rain as LZY flies off to this bottom mid 9 gen. Where we don't. Oh, we see them now booking it to 12 in the edge map. Oh, we're gonna. Well, it looks like we're gonna chase. We'll get them skeletons of Fly of the Damned, I think it's called. Get those up right now, real quick. We hear them now. We've spotted our Deathhook Survivor. We're gonna miss the skeletons, but we're gonna get Fly. We're gonna take the Survivor to. We're just gonna leave. LZY understands the situation he's in, and you know I could chase Survivor, I could kill him, but I'm not going to because I want to play for a better result. And you know what? We respect the hell out of it for him because as we see here, our Survivor's kind of zoned to 3. Even if wait, did we get Jiggy? I think, and we're just gonna be leaving again. LZY, the sixth sense is awakened, bro. The sleep deprivation in everyone in this game is kicking in right now. That sheer adrenaline rocking up, and we spotted our Neo, our Deathhook Survivor, going straight down into hell. Oh, this pallet, never a good pallet to play. And we're just gonna get down there because of the slight bit of elevation on this map. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, Hunter. I think we're gonna see another 4K too. And I don't. Oh, I mean, maybe there might be a little something that survives about their sleeves, but until they shot, I think it's gonna be 4K2 Hunter.
Yeah, potentially, because look at this, we do manage to get that next gen pop, so at least it's not a 4K2, but they're both injured as a result of it. They're happy with the 4K1 because they think maybe, just maybe, we can pull the 4K2 and do it for a second time around. As LZY does take that Eye of Magnus back into Shaq, he's not going to be catching anybody out as they are crouched. We do see the scratch marks, however, leading into bottom one, or top one, sorry, all the way into the corner, playing on the long side of the T, winning 1 check spot. Does he win the 50? Yes, he does. LZY even getting caught on something, maybe the wood of the T wall there, but ultimately we have won the pallet there. LZY using the skulls to do so, and now can just slug and go back for his last second down onto whoever this is. I think it was After Rain, just stealthing around about because there's nobody else left in the trial, and I'm just seeing things, but yeah, we see him over at 11. He is slowly making his way back to Shaq, where he could potentially pick up next. Maybe even go for a reset if we manage to not find them. That is on the side of LZY. He is still looking around for After Rain. Again, After Rain just really playing slow underneath the underground. Oh my god, wait. Oh, okay, sorry. No, this is just the down survivor, so we know where the down survivor is. We're still in forever search of After Rain. We think that he's bot, but we know he's just underneath in the ice part of the map, so he needs to get this pick up. If they go for a reset, or which they're not going to be able to because we're actually going back to maybe potentially pick up our slugged. Yeah, there it is. After Rain pretty close to this as well, just in, yeah, that underground part still hasn't even came out of it. We are going to be hooking over at 3. Pain Resonance not going to mean much because of the fact that we've already used all our stacks on there's not really too much progression over in that 3 gen scenario happening over at 8-7 and mid, so there was a little bit and it would have been just all done and dusted after that hook. So LZY in such a power position at the moment, but this is grounds for the pull to happen if After Rain chooses to do so. LZY still approaching, does see the Crow fly up, but he has been debated just a little bit. There's the pool in front of his eyes, but we've ran into a snow pile here that may be potentially After Rain just not being able to make the window just as a result of that. That's horrible and mighty unfortunate, but with the flight in hand, we're able to go back into the middle of main once more, and we're going to be seeing Nex trying to do a little bit of spin around Jiggy as we do vault the pallet here. We do have life to be working with on the upper half of main, where we do have another pallet, and we are going to be dodging the skulls very effectively, winning that elevation tech, but ultimately not making the back vault on the pallet there. So 4K1. One can only hope that the tie is not that the next trial is not 4K1. But honestly, I just want to see a good game. If it's going this close to the point where we're potentially having to play 3 tiebreaker sets, the competition's gotta be fucking good in Aussie.
100%. We will not be here on out if this was not fight for the ages. Even though we've seen these 2 killers go back to back to back and constantly fight for it, the survivors are putting just as much work.
Final series tonight, the 4th series of the night, where it is, yes, the second half of it. It is going to be Lich following up a 4K2 tie condition for our killer and a 4K0 win condition for our survivors. Who will prevail? We have yet to see. If this does go to a tiebreaker, we will be discussing whether or not we are to be playing this one online, as we have staff that is extremely tired, yet I am here for the absolute long run, and I will be more than likely the one to ref that match. Regardless, it is going to be our survivors spawning here over at top. Dylan with flight in hand going to be covering his ground in the middle here, trying to spot out his first chase with the Eye of Magnus in hand. Spam it goes all the way down into main, where we do spot out LZY and potentially even Lyrial. So that's 2 survivors straight off the rip, dopped in by that big ball of nonsense. So we are going to be pre-dropping the top of main straight back down to the bottom of main, where we do have Mage Hand to hold up the pallet ever so nicely for us. Thank you, madam. And we're able to get this tag regardless of which way we choose to go, whether we choose to play the outside of the railing or then cut through into the stairs. But regardless, it's going to be LZY eating that first tag. We potentially even just leave here and go for the next chase back onto Wolf, who pre-drops here over in mid. Does eat that tag as well. So that's quick, 2 quick tags straight on the board here. Definitely what you need for our killer to put forth a good win condition. Or sorry, a good scoring, I guess. A win condition would be getting it completely ahead of myself, as we do see Wolf just W away from here. Does still have access to the pallet, but it's going to be held up by the Mage Hand, and we do only have the window to be using. But do we win the 50? No, we should have crouched at the window, but we would have lost all kinds of distance and not made the window vault anyway, so you just kind of had to send it. Going to be taking this pick up onto Wolf here, but it doesn't look like there's any sort of pain res RNG in our vicinity. We are going to potentially get 7 done if we don't check it in time after hooking Wolf. Even if we do just hook Wolf, I think if we just hold M1, Lyrial missed a skill check, and I stopped in his location. Oh, that's horrible. I don't know if Cam was on the gen and decided to pre-leave and was the one who blew it up, though, so I didn't even know that was being doubled. I thought it was being singled the entire time, but LZY is somewhere on the map just slamming out pistons, even over at 11. It's probably, yeah, exactly where he is. So we do see our Ace and Shades Lyrial going in for that save in hot and preemptively, as we do just closing the distance onto LZY, really trying to push him off 11. Pop goes the Weasel on 7, and not the perk. I'm using the metaphor just to fully clarify for those who are confused. It's going to be Dylan going back to the middle of the map and protecting his hook, so we don't really care too much about unhooking in any capacity. We just want the gen pressure, and you know what? All things considered, look at that. Our survivors already on the front foot. We for the result of 2 generators at the moment, we only have a hook and a tag to show for it. So our killer has some work to do. I don't think he can really sit here and camp the remaining stage onto Wolf here, or the second stage, especially in an instance where they can potentially even just trade here. But look, I think they're just going for gen pressure. They don't really give a damn about the guy on hook, and it's all for free, considering that we haven't decided to pressure any of the gens while simultaneously just looking at the ultimate demise of Wolf. Now we choose to leave, which is the correct play. At the worst case scenario, they do pop 2 generators, and it is the 4K1 tie in result for the chase onto Cam and the death onto Wolf. Dylan just holding in the middle, thinking he interrupted the most progressed generator. Little does he know that dispersing around the entirety of the map between Shack and main, you have 2 survivors with a generator about halfway, and even now I think they're just allowing Wolf to die. I don't actually think they're ever going to think about even pulling him off the hook, because you don't really need to in this instance. All in the meantime, our killer, not knowing that, anticipating that there will be a trade of some sort at some point in the trial, if LZY was also another survivor who was healthy in this instance, I would say that, yeah, Nyx are just way too far ahead. But even so, even now, I would say they're a little too far ahead. Our killer has played a little bit too passive. He needed to play just a little bit more aggressive, but ends up getting the down there onto Cam 1, and I do believe that was a proc of Dragon's Grip, because he was once upon a time healthy very early, a little bit earlier. And that's already just negated a little bit of the progress over at main. So now we're just forever in search of Wolf. Wolf back in the trial. 4 survivors still in it to win it. We do have the chase hitting around the shack here. Lyrial. Wait. Oh, I was about to say, could we not kick the gen because someone's on the opposite side working it? I'm not too sure. But 8 and Shack, the gens to be worried about as it currently stands. Dylan with power back in hand is going to be closing the distance just before the Shack pallet is thrown. That's going to be Lyrial in chase again, using the long side gear with the window check spots. And you know what, even the aura reading on our killer via the, I think it was alert he has in his back pocket, if that's the case. But we are going to be vaulting the window there and double vaulting it back to avoid the tag, wrapping around the generator again, potentially even just slamming out that 8-gen, which he would do so nicely, just to at least solidify the tie condition. But things would have to go egregiously wrong from here if the Knicks were to lose this set. They are extremely ahead with only 3 stages awarded to our killer. Lyrial is putting on the Jets right now. It's exactly how you need to play. He can just electric greed for the Shack window. He is exposed by the likes of Dragon's Grip yet again, just coming in clutch for this series. Now, our killer Dylan, forced to pick up here, does have a pain resonance straight in front of him, so this will just slow the game down even more. We need all survivors in the trial healthy, because if on the off chance we are able to find Wolf and down Wolf, it could potentially be problematic. And we've healed the other survivor as to opposed of healing the Death Hook survivor, which I find quite an interesting play. And the reset doesn't really mean anything when you're already eating a tag. So we are going to be following up here just before the hook, and we are caught in a detrimental position. This we have to be careful of. We can potentially go down at the pallet, and things are looking like they could potentially result in a tie if we do slug this and go for the person on the generator, but we get the pull in time, so we've saved it from being a tie. W Cam 1 to get Lyrial off the hook just underneath our killer's nose. It's going to be LZY back on the hook for a little bit more, slowing on the generators in the background there with pain resonance. We only have 1 more stack to our avail. The Dragon's Grip still in effect too, but it doesn't really matter with everybody injured on the board here. They are really just trying to 3-man slam out that generator there over at Shack. This will be Wolf gone, and I do believe he is pain resonance. The only stack of pain resonance. They just have to commit the gen here and play. Oh, do they even make it? This is 3 tags on 1 single generator, and you can only hope that none of them are going to fuck it up. Surely. Yeah, he's just going to go for the grab, and that's going to be the pop in his face. 2 survivors down, but they have met their win condition of 4K0, and it was looking scary that we're going to tie it again, but hey, they've done it here. Nick's taken it away 2-1, and FERRON should be very proud of what they've accomplished here still, regardless of the fact that they did end up losing by 1 single set. And ignore us casters if we sound a little bit upset by the fact that we have been here casting for so long. I do apologize. That is not the case. It is just literally the fact that we have been here for so long. Around 8 hours stream now. Absolutely crazy, Nosy.
I agree. I mean, I was about to say, like, I'm only going to talk throughout the entire set, but no, you have throughout the entire thing, man. I had things I wanted to say. But nevertheless, we still end up with the result of Nyx 2-1. It was hard fought. Both teams really showed their capabilities, what they actually able to do, what they're able to produce, what kind of show they could put on. And the goddamn, they put it on a good show. I'm honestly, like, I've got very little casting experience.